I think of the 4 semi-finals, you'd probably say New Zealand are probably the most likely to qualify for the final. I think they'll be quite Pakistan are a good team. I think they'll be quite happy to play in Pakistan for a chance to make the final. And this game here looks pretty tough to call. I think India are probably the slight favourites. I think wicket that's been used twice probably will suit spin a little bit more, which might suit India. But two very fine sides.
So here in Adelaide, we are again being joined by one of the special guests, Tim Wigmore, on Cricket Adda. Thank you so much, author of a very famous book, Cricket 2.0. So first of all, how about your book? How it's been doing all over the world?
I think it's been doing well so far, but I'm biased. So looking forward, enjoying being out in Australia for the World Cup here.
Indians are looking for the Hindi version. Any idea? I can do the translation.
I'm not sure there was talk of that. It's definitely in English on various platforms in India. I'm not sure it's yet in Hindi.
No, I'm just giving you the offer. If you're keen, then I can do the translation.
It's very kind. Well, I need to double check that. Wait, in fact, I think there might actually be a Hindi version. Can I check?
Okay, we will come back to that after the show. And on a serious note, Tim, you have been following the English cricket team, and obviously we have seen your reports in Telegraph, some wonderful reporting. What do you make of this Cricket World Cup so far? Most unpredictable, or you think the most fascinating?
Yeah, I think it's been brilliant. I think the tournament itself has been fantastic. We've seen a number of upsets. We've seen sort of teams coming close together in T20, which has been great. I think the negative has been actually the schedule. It's been too early in the summer, so we haven't had actually the crowds that we would have done. If you talk to Aussies, there's only been nine internationals Australia men had played in October before this month, so sort of not really peak cricket season. That has been a factor in the crowds not being great, and also a bit of a factor in the weather, which has also been unlucky. But when we've actually been on the field, the cricket's been really compelling. I think last year in UAE, some of the teams were undercooked, especially some of the kind of emerging countries. I think standards been higher across the board. We've seen Ireland, Zimbabwe, Netherlands all been actually very strong, and the Super 12s made a real impact. So that's been great. And then we've kind of ended up these semi-finals. Interesting, three of the semi-finalists were also in the last 4 a year ago, which is England, New Zealand, and Pakistan.
India somehow hasn't looked at its dominant best yet. They have made it to the semi-final quite easily. One thing I have noticed, because I have been following Indian team and whether it's coach Rahul Dravid or R. Ashwin, everyone has been insisting this World Cup is all about a skill. It's not T20 slam bang. Do you agree with that?
Well, I think what we are seeing is because it's been quite early in the summer in Australia, so that has kind of brought the bowlers a little bit more into it. And actually, we've seen there's been some really good sustained bowling in the power play, really aggressive fast bowling in the power play. Obviously, we saw the India-Pakistan game when you were 31 for 4 at the MCG was a really good example of that. So it has rewarded kind of high-skilled batsmen who can survive, very, very skillful pace bowling and very quick pace bowling as well. So that has been a different dynamic, which has been interesting. And of course, the grounds in Australia, it's pretty hard to hit sixes. Possibly actually the square boundaries at Adelaide are a bit shorter. You might see a few more sixes, but in general, it's pretty hard to hit sixes. So that places a bit of a premium on being able to work the ball around, actually running twos, something with Virat Kohli he's been very good at and always very good at. So that's there's been interesting dynamics there to the tournament. So it has been a little bit different, and I think actually it's been really enjoyable. I think cricket all formats is generally better when the bowlers have a pretty important say and the bowlers are actually able to attack with a new ball. So that's been really good. And so the scores have been a little bit on the low side compared to sometimes. I think it's been the second lowest T20 World Cup so far in terms of average scores. So the bowlers have been fairly empowered, which is good.
Not to offend you, mate, but already the subcontinent is, saying that it is going to be India-Pakistan final. What are your thoughts on that?
Well, I'm sure the ICC would love it, and in fact, we've never had a India-Pakistan final in a World Cup before. It's had it in the Champions Trophy.
Yeah.
In the World Cup, we had it in 2007. That's right, but not as one since then. So that would be fantastic, especially a return to the MCG. What a story that would be. I think of the 4 semi-finals, you'd probably say New Zealand are probably the most likely to qualify for the final. I think they'll be quite Pakistan are a good team. I think they'll be quite happy to play in Pakistan for a chance to make the final. And this game here looks pretty tough to call. I think India are probably the slight favourites. I think wicket that's been used twice probably will suit spin a little bit more, which might suit India. But two very fine sides.
Are you surprised by Pakistan turnaround? Because at one point of time, it just seemed that they were out of the tournament.
Yeah, I was surprised, not so much for Pakistan winning those last 3 games, but certainly for South Africa losing to Netherlands. Actually, South Africa, we're in great position against Pakistan as well. I think Pakistan were 40 for 4 against South Africa, so South Africa kind of had chances in both their last 2 games. If they'd won one, they would have gone through. So Pakistan will feel they've kind of come from nowhere. They've got a bit of a free hit. I suppose they're a kind of opening pair, which was so good last year in UAE, haven't been as good so far, so that's been an issue for them. But yeah, clearly, any attack with Shaheen Afridi is going to be really, really dangerous. Shaheen Afridi and Shadab Khan, that's a very dangerous attack.
My final 2 questions, that's the second last one. Do you think if any team which can, defeat the methodical New Zealanders, it is the mercurial Pakistani side tomorrow?
Yeah, Pakistan have got a decent chance. I still think New Zealand's their team has actually evolved last year from the World Cup in a nice way. The introduction of Finn Allen is a very, very nice addition. So it's given them a kind of higher upside in their scoring potential, as has the development of Glenn Phillips. So I look at that New Zealand side. I think it's a better side than a year ago. So I would have them as favourites for that game. Pakistan always going to have a chance. In fact, we analyse these games so much, which was kind of great, part of the intrigue. But at this level, probably no game is going to be more than 55, 45, maybe 60, 40 at best. So there is that volatility, which is part of what's made it such a compelling tournament.
My final question. Now we have entered the business end of the tournament. Which team looks most settled and the most likely to go to the finals?
So I think the most well grooved team so far has been the Kiwis, New Zealand. So I think they're the most likely to get to the final. But in terms of the final winner, I think whoever wins this game will then be the favourite to win the final on just about. But it will be, as I said, going to be very tricky. I think we should have 3 great games of cricket in store, and that would be kind of a fitting end to what's been, I think, probably the best T20 World Cup yet.
Thanks for your time, team. I really appreciate that. And yes, looking forward to your offer. I'm ready for the Hindi translation.
Lovely. Cheers. Thanks for having me.
So that's all we have from Adelaide.